Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Welcome back to part 3 of creating a bonsai landscape. Yesterday I picked out my rocks for my penjing and I arranged them, got them how I want them, and today I'll be cementing them in place. The weather has warmed up today. We have plus 2 degrees, 2 degrees above freezing. It feels really nice out. I have the heat off in the greenhouse and yet it's still quite warm in there. It's about 15 degrees Celsius in there, you know, getting close to room temperature. So I might have to keep the door open today to keep it a bit cooler in the greenhouse. So what I'm saying is it's a perfect temperature for cementing these rocks in place today here in the greenhouse. So I've got all my supplies together here. I've got my commercial grade Quikrete, quick setting cement. I've got a tub for water. I've got a spoon for mixing it, and I'll apply it to my planting and get all these rocks cemented in place. You can see this marble tray isn't as shallow as some penjing trays. It has a bit of depth to it. So a rock like this, if I come down to eye level, you would only see the very tip of it. So I'll need to cement that in place a little higher. So I'll put a big blob of cement underneath it, raising it up. Most of the other rocks are fine. If I come down to eye level, they look perfect. So they can be cemented right to the base of the marble tray here. So I think I should get going. The rocks are kind of pre-soaked. I wet them yesterday, so they're all moist underneath, so I can apply the cement to them and it should stick quite well. So I have to be careful not to, get too much cement on the rocks, just enough to hold them kind of in place. So if you ever lifted this up or anything, that the rocks wouldn't slide around, or when I'm repotting the tree that they stay in place and they're not loose. So let's get started on the cementing of the rocks. Because it is so warm out here today, I've got the valve closed on my cube, so I'm trying to collect as much rainwater as I can to refill the barrel in the plant room and the one in the greenhouse here also. All right, I'm going to begin. So I'm going to mix up some cement. I have a watering can full of rainwater here for mixing my cement up. So I'll need a fair amount to go in here. And I'll need a brush too to brush the excess cement off. I've got a toothbrush and an artist brush that I can kind of, brush away, you wet it, brush away the excess cement from around the rocks. Because you want the rocks to look very natural. Okay, so I'm going to begin by mixing up my cement. So, here I go. I haven't done any cement work since I finished my temple, or I didn't finish it. I've partially finished it. There'll be more work coming on the temple. So I'm going to mix up a fair amount of cement here because I want to kind of do it all in one go if I can. I think that's enough. I don't want too much that it hardens before I get, all the rocks in place. So there's my cement, quite a bit. So I'll add water now until I get a nice consistency. And I'll stir it with my spoon as I go. So you want the consistency to be like, you don't want it too firm and you don't want it too runny, somewhere in between. Okay, so this looks about right. I'm just making sure it's stirred thoroughly. I'm going to start with the big rock in the corner. Now, I've got to lift one rock up at a time because I don't want to, take them all out and then I don't know where they go. So I'm going to start with this rock, lifting it up. I'll clean off the bottom of any debris that's on there. And you can see it's wet, so the cement should stick to it quite well. And then I should clean up the bottom of my tray here too. I've got a rag here. It doesn't have to be totally clean. I mean, cement has all kinds of grit and rocks in it. That should be good. So I'll apply cement to the bottom of my rock, like this. And then I'll apply cement inside the marble tray here. And then I'll stick the rock down. Like that. You can see how it squishes out. Now I've got to come around this side, and you can see the excess cement here. So I will just wet my brush. Should have a little container here, and just kind of rinse it off the edges. Let me just get some water in my container. Keeping the marble clean. That's looking good. Okay, on to my next rock, which will be the one beside it here. I'm going to do this one next. Putting some cement on the rock. And then getting rid of a bit of debris here, some pine needles. Okay, and then putting some cement down here. Like that, and then I'll stick this rock down in place like that. Now you can see I have a lot of excess cement here. I'm going to put some down in the cracks between the rocks here, like that. And I need my knife here to kind of work the cement in between the rocks. Get it off of my marble here. Dab up all this excess water here, making sure it doesn't get too wet. So I'm going to brush the excess cement off around the rocks here. And then I'll have to, once the cement firms up a bit, I'll wash it even better with the watering can. But right now, if I wash it, it'll wash all my cement and it'll make my cement too thin. So I've got to be careful. I'm just taking away some of this excess cement here. Too much. Okay, now I've got to do my next rock, this one here. So here I go. Cement on the bottom of the rock. And where it goes. Okay, and this rock goes in place now. Just like that. You can see all the excess cement I have that I've got to clean away. Next rock will be this one. And I have to form that dam, that watertight dam here, so that water can't get from the land section into the water section, and the water can't get from the water section into the land section. I've got to keep these two compartments separate. There will be a lot of cleanup to do here. Okay, so this rock is coming in, and it's got to make a seal here, like that. And then I'll have to put some more cement in between these rocks to kind of make my watertight wall. So in this case, my rocks are very close to cement color, so I don't have to worry about coloring my cement or anything. But if you're using red rocks, you might want to put a colorant in the cement to get it to match the rocks more closely. That way you won't see the cement. It'll blend in with the rocks really nicely. So I'm building up my dam here, making sure I've got a good seal. And I'm going to fix all the cement up as it hardens. So now I've got 3 rocks left. So I will continue. I'm going to do this one next. Oh, it's starting to get a little firmer, my cement, which is
which is okay. That's what cement does. Okay, now this rock's going in place right here. Like that. Make sure each rock is pushed down. You don't want it kind of unstable in the pot, kind of riding on top of cement. Okay, now while the cement is firming up, I want to put it underneath here, building up kind of. I wanted this one higher, and I'm going to attach it to the land with my cement. Now I've got to look and see from the side how high I want it. So a little lower, maybe right about there. That's good. And I'm attaching it to the land here with cement because, you know, I don't want it cracking off and becoming a separate piece. I want this all connected. Okay, so I've got 2 more rocks to go here. And this one goes in place right here, like that. And one final rock. And here it goes. The final rock is going in place right like that. So now I've got to put a lot of cement around, kind of around the rocks, holding them in place nicely, sort of filleting them in, so it all looks smooth and nice. Now I'm getting very low on cement. I'm going to scrape out what I can here, and I may have to mix up a little more just to do all my touch-ups. So all this cleanup work is very important to get it all kind of in all the cracks, so the rocks are all held together. Now you can see I need a bit more on this side over here, so I'll try and get a little more cement into there. I think that's enough. I think I've got lots here, so I want to get it in between all the rocks so they all are held together nicely. And this is looking really good. I've got to wash all that marble down. I don't want cement in with my marble. And I'm going to dry brush it now. So I'm kind of taking up all the excess water in the brush and dry brushing my cement. And these brushes, because they're bristles, you can get some good texture in the concrete, and it helps kind of blend it in a bit. I mean, it's not the same color as the rocks, but at least it doesn't look like poured cement or anything. It'll sort of blend in with texture. And this cement, over the years, as it ages, you can get algae growing on it and lichen and discoloring, and it'll look more and more like the rocks, is what I'm saying. I looked on YouTube. I didn't see any tutorials on how to do this. You know, there's lots of tutorials on making cement rocks, including, you know, a video I did where Josh and I made some cement rocks, but there was nothing about cementing rocks into a marble tray to create a penjing. So this is basically creating a pot here, a pot for the plant to sit in. And there's no drainage holes, so you have to water it Then you can tip the tray up, drain the excess water off, and the plant will be very happy. And you know, if it rains, you can't, it's best not to keep this in the rain because it'll just flood your plant area. So I'm taking away some of the excess cement now. I've got a little bit too much in here. So I'm just kind of taking it away. Now, I think I want to build it up just a little higher here. My cement wall right here, just so water doesn't flood past there. Okay, now I'm going to start cleaning the rocks off. You can see I have cement over all the rocks. I think I have all my cement in place nicely now. I don't see any, you know, excess bits of cement anywhere. I think it's all looking good. And you can see how cementing the rocks together really unifies it. You know, you'd probably never guess that these are all separate rocks. I mean, you might, but they look like they've been together forever. And as I said, especially when this concrete starts getting a bit of age to it, algae and moss, and it'll look like they were always a natural rock formation. And you have to be careful handling these penjings because, you know, these rocks, even though they're cemented in place, you bump them, it's going to come off. You have to be careful. Treat them like, you know, they're just barely attached to the marble tray. Treat them with care. Okay, I think I'm very happy with my cement. So now I'm going to clean the rocks off. So I've got to get some fresh water. I'll just dump this water outside, get some fresh rainwater, and start cleaning the rocks off. And I have to be careful I don't get too much water in this. I want to, you know, keep it fairly dry. Okay, let's start with the edges of the marble here. And I'll get a rag. So I'm just cleaning the edges of my marble pot first. Like this. And getting my excess water sopped up with this rag here. So that's looking good. Let me go around here, get this edge. Now I gotta get this edge. It's quite messy. Looking good. So I've got the marble pot cleaned, so now I've got to clean off the rocks. So I'll just wash them from above. So I'll start at the top and kind of wash the rock. And the next thing I want to do is I've got to come down to eye level. And anywhere where I see cement, I've got to make sure it looks good. Or wash it away lower because I don't want cement sticking up above the lip of the pot. I want it to be hidden and only see the rocks. So the secret of making these penjings look really good is your rock selection and arrangement. It's really hard to find good rocks, miniature looking rocks. I jumped at the chance of getting these rocks because they're just beautiful. They have little miniature cracks in them. Yeah, they're really nice rocks. So when I saw pictures of them, I said, oh, I've got to go rock collecting. And that was Red Zeppelin. He showed me pictures of his trees and I said, wow, those are nice rocks. Where'd you get those rocks? And he says, oh, I collected them. And I thought, oh, wow. And we went on a collection trip with Red Zeppelin. Collected more of them. So here's my little rock out in the island, or my little island rock, I guess. So I'm coming down to eye level here now. So maybe some of this cement is a little high on this rock. I'm just going to wash it away from the edges a bit. Exposing a little more rock and less cement in that area. I've got all my tools cleaned up, so I'm just working on getting the final bits of cement off everything. Just get some fresh rainwater here. The cement is starting to set, which is nice. So I'm just cleaning up all my marble areas, making sure everything's looking good. Just wicking away all that excess moisture. So this cement should dry quite nicely here in the greenhouse because it's, fairly humid. It'll stay above freezing for sure. It'll be quite nice in here. And I think that is it. I'll just do a final wipe down on my marble edges here. Make sure there's no cement on them. All right, let's fly in now and have a look at the planting. So we'll get down low here. Move my watering can out of the way. And let's zoom in. So there's kind of eye level. So you can see the island just pops up nicely. All my cement is below the ground level. We come up a bit, you can see the area here for planting the tree. And there could be a tree back here in this pocket in the corner also. There's my wall for my coastline. Now I'm a little low here. If water, should be okay maybe. Maybe I could build that up a little more, maybe there. So I think that's where my water is going to come over. I should have done that. I'll do that. I'll build up a little more of a wall there. And maybe even here. Add a bit of cement there. The rest I think is looking good. Everything's nice. Yeah, I better do that. I didn't realize I was that low there. And here. Okay, I'll mix up a little more cement and add it into that section. All right, I've got some cement mixed up, so I'll come in and add it right here. I think I did have this built up a little more, but then I took it away. Maybe I took a little too much away. I can hide this one kind of back further here. And this one will be quite nice where it is right there. Okay, I'll do just a little touch up once the new cement sets a bit. I'll just clean out my marble here a little more. Let's fly in now and take a final look at my new penjing, my Caboo Island. I think it's looking like it. I think it looks good. Now, the trees that I'll be planting in here, I'm leaning towards the Mingarelius, my $50 challenge tree. And then Derek gave me a Mingarelia cutting, so I could have at least 2 trees in here. They kind of, they've got a good miniature look to them. This is to me, this looks like a person would be about this tall. So I can't have like a giant jade in here or it would look ridiculous. So I have to have fairly small detailed trees in this size of planting. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards the Mingarelius. They're kind of, it'd be a good size, I think, to kind of look like that. Or, the Portulacaria afras. I could start
the Lilliput ones in here. They would be really, really nice. However, they don't have thick trunks at all. It would take many, 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 many years before it would look kind of like the baobabs on Kaboo Island. So some things to think about. So I'm going to decide that tomorrow. We're going to be trying out some different trees with this landscape, see what's looking good, and then probably maybe plant tomorrow. It's quite possible. The cement should be fully hardened by then. Yeah, I could put my sand in this area for my salt lake bed, dry salt lake bed, and even put a bit of water on to look like the wet season. I can add moss and maybe even plant the tree. That'll be exciting. So yeah, so that's the final look at my rock planting. Very exciting. Today was a big step forward getting all these rocks cemented in place for my Kaboo Island penjing for the Bonsai Landscape Challenge started by Gail. So I'm very excited. I've just got to let all the cement harden and dry, and then we'll continue on with this planting, getting the trees in place, the sand, and the rocks. That'll be very exciting. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.